Hey YouTubers, this is Ian, and I'm doing a review on Dodge Challenger RT Classic. This is actually my Pops' car. It is a blackberry pearl. It's a pretty rare color, so it's actually really nice. It's like an indigo, almost like a chameleon paint job at some points, depending on how the light hits it, but for the most part it's stock. It has a Mopar cold air intake, and he has a full master mufflers with a, I think it's a resonator delete, but he kept the stock tips and it sounds actually really nice. So we'll get the startup. So here's the cluster gauge, fuel, speedometer, tachometer, water pressure, your water temperature. It's nice. Ooh, there goes a nice little Mini right there. Cooper Works Edition, JCW. So you got your temperature gauge, your compass. This is the dash. Kind of like a faux carbon fiber, but not really type thing going on. I got my wife and I got my Pops the all-weather floor mats straight from the dealership. So these pedals are actually pretty similar to the WRX pedals, and they have a good sticky feel to them. You got a sport mode, traction control, seat warmer. So this thing's fully loaded. Everything except for, I believe, just the navigation system, which who really cares about that? I mean, that's why we have smartphones. Here's the automatic shifter. You can shift side to side here if you want to use the handle, or you got these nice paddle shifters here. Steering wheel, basic controls for your Bluetooth, volume, and there's your cruise control, plus or minus. Basic stuff such as the lights, fog lights, dome lighting. It's a rear view. So this dash treatment continues on to the center console. Pretty big, there's a pretty big glove box here, pretty deep. There's a lot of stuff in there. My Subaru keys. And this is actually nice because it slides, so you can adjust this how you want. So the seats are pretty nice, well bolstered in the back. You got your center armrest in the back. Only thing I don't like about coupes is the fact that you have to wrestle with the damn seatbelt to get in. But other than that, it's pretty tight fitting back there. As you can see, your legs would be squeezed up right behind. I was sitting this side on our trip to San Diego. Rear visibility is not that great, but it's also not as bad as the Camaros similar to this year. The Mustangs are similar to this, so as far as that goes, you know, the Mustang and Challengers went out in that aspect as far as the blind spots go. But I'll be doing a review on a Camaro, my buddy's Camaro, pretty soon here. The interior finish, as far as the quality goes, and as well as the exterior, there are some plastic trim pieces on the body panels and inside that are kind of flimsy. And if you're paying this, you know, a high price point, what is this, about $40,000 roughly, for this car, I would want to get something that felt a little more substantial. And with the WRX, that's not like a super cheap or expensive car, but I think just the fit and finish of it, as far as the body panels go, are a lot higher quality than this. I mean, I walk around the car every time I wash this or I see it, and I touch the plastic pieces, they are just flimsy. And he kind of knows that too, and that's why a lot of you who follow me on Instagram, I was talking about my dad at one point thinking about trading his car in to get a silver WRX hatch like mine. But, you know, he would end up losing money on this, so it wasn't smart financially for him to do. Actually just kicked into eco mode, so you can hear the difference between the cylinders running. But anyways, so that's a downside on this car. The finish, as far as the quality goes, is not super high. I mean, it's an American car. You're not getting, you know, like a Beamer. But anyways, this car is super smooth. I was actually riding in the back with my parents on the way down to San Diego last time I came up to the Bay, and it wasn't too bad at all. It is a two-door. If you want to afford, or essentially getting the Charger RTs, the same car, same engine, just different body style. I think those cars are way ugly, by the way. So I'd much rather get this, but do a little acceleration. Just using paddle shifters right there. So there is a delay. It's not a DSG transmission. It's not the new transmission in the Hellcat, but it does work really well if you want to have a little fun with it. So and the exhaust in this car is super nice. It's not loud and droney. It's actually a good middle of the road, and I don't really like loud exhaust systems. I mean, that's just personal preference. So this actually sounds really nice outside, but it's not deafening inside, which is very nice when you want to go on a nice long drive. You're not getting a headache, you know. So thing's quick, man. Sounds good too. So this car is actually very smooth and super comfortable to drive in. It has big ass rims. I don't even know how big these rims are. I think they're like 20s or something. And I think they are tungsten as well. But I'm trying to convince him to plastic dip his rims flat black like I did mine. Just because I think it'll look meaner. And he has the matte black striping, RT stripes going down the side for the accent. I think they look really nice, so I just think it would look better, match more, and give a little meaner look. So he's toying with the idea, but we'll see where we go with that. But anyways, this car has 372 horsepower and about 410 foot-pounds of torque, which is quite a bit. But as many of you know, it's not always about how much power you have, it's how well you're able to put it down. So this car costs more than my WRX, at least 10 grand more, I would say. Probably even more than that, honestly. And my car actually beats this from 0 to 60, because my car, the stock WRX, the 11s to 14s, those run 0 to 60 if you launch under 5 seconds. So, you know, about 4.7, 4.8 from 0 to 60 in the WRX, and quarter mile is 13.5. Well, this also runs at 13.5, but it gets about, I think, 5 seconds flat. WRX only having 265 horsepower, and only I think like 244 torque. With all this power, my car is still actually the same speed as this as far as a quarter mile goes, and I'm pretty sure that my car will out-handle this on a track, because you know this doesn't have any special equipment as far as suspension goes. It's pretty bone stock, like I said. It's just, you know, resonator delete, a muffler, and cold air intake, but it's plenty fast, don't get me wrong. Another thing, this is also an automatic, so he does have the paddle shifters on here, and this not really like a DSG transmission. It switches fairly quickly, but you know, I myself, if I'm going to get a sports car, I would get a manual transmission. But my dad actually owned a few E36 M3s, and I think they were manual except for one. But I don't blame him, because you know, he's kind of older. He doesn't want to shift gears. At the time he bought this, he was traveling to work or commuting to work, so the drive is pretty rough as far as the commuting traffic goes here in the Bay Area. So I kind of don't blame him for getting the automatic. But if it was me, I would definitely have gotten the manual. So now he's kind of kicking his butt because he's retired now and he likes to feel the power every now and then. But with these engines, these Hemi engines that shut off, they go into eco mode, run on 4 cylinders. You can't just floor it. It's the same engines that the California Highway Patrol and some of the law enforcement around California use, because for whatever reason they chose us to, you know, as their platform for all their squad cars. But you can't floor because you'll get a loud thunk. And at first he thought he damaged his transmission, but you have to kind of gradually accelerate and then you can floor it like that. So it is quick, as you can see. It just went from 35 to an unspecified mile per hour there pretty quickly. Seats are really comfortable. They're bolstered really well. It's a nice interior. They have soft touch materials. So I don't like how a lot of new cars have crazy things going on. This is real simple. I mean, the dash is kind of like a softer plastic, but it's still plasticky, a little rubbery. But I mean, I don't care. You're not buying a muscle car for its interior luxury. You're buying it for performance, and this does really well in the quarter mile and straight lines. And you know, maybe with suspension upgrades, you'll be able to take this around the track and handle it pretty well, kind of like the new Hellcat, but that's a whole other story. But as far as daily driver, this is more than adequate. It's actually a great car. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this review of a 2012 Dodge Challenger RT, as I try not to hit this golf cart passing our path here. That's cool. So I'll see you guys and gals in the next video. Stay tuned for a review on a SS Camaro. It's a 2012 or 2013 SS Camaro, my buddies, and also a DIY on that as well. We installed the ZL1 side skirts and front lip kit, so I'll be posting that as soon as I can get around to editing it. But other than that, take care everyone. See you next time.